Opposition leader Mark Golding said it is quite clear that the measures that are being employed to address crime in Jamaica are not working. He described as quite frightening the fact that a sitting councillor could be assassinated on a public street in broad daylight while working in his division. Speaking at a recent memorial service and a counselling session for councillors at the Portmore City Municipality who have been rocked by the killing of their colleague, Ainsley Parkins, Golding called for a risk assessment to be done on all councillors and security be provided by the state for those who are deemed at risk.
I know, for example, that many councillors feel that their security is not sufficiently looked after by the state because they have to be interacting with the public in communities, administering scarce resources, and the demands for those resources always exceed the supply. And this can often put them in situations where misunderstandings are possible or where persons present decisions that are taken if they themselves are not personally benefiting. And there needs to be, I would suggest, regular risk assessments conducted as to the security risks faced by councillors, and where there are real risks that are known, they should be given protection by the state. This is an important issue, and if anything positive can come out of what happened last Thursday, I'm hoping that it will at least result in a revisiting of the security arrangements for elected officials who are at risk on the ground. Not everybody faces the same level of risk. It depends on the communities they serve and other factors. But certainly, Councillor Parkins faced that risk and ultimately lost his life because of that.
The opposition leader stopped short of saying whether a People's National Party administration would put in place these security measures. Waterford councillor Fenley Douglas, while humanizing his deceased colleague, charged that the system failed him.
There was never a dull moment with Councillor Parkins. He was a strong believer in what he thinks was right. And if he believes it is right, he's fighting for it and giving you examples as to why you should go this way. If you really know the man, you would never have a dull moment. It was 2.5 weeks ago, Tyson was downstairs and I said, "What are you doing with the microwave? What are you doing? What are you doing?" And he said that, "I'm cooking for us." I said, "You come here to cook? You don't cook here, yeah?" He said, "Hi, be careful, you know. I roast one nice sweet potato if you want piece, you will get it." So immediately I recanted and said, "Yeah man, I like that." Because I wanted it because he had cheese and butter on the sweet potato, you know. And I said, "Who are you doing that for?" He said that Courtney upstairs one piece, Nadia one piece, Miss Martin one. And I'm just, you know, thinking about him now. His style was different. He was colorful. He was very flamboyant in his output, but he was a visionary. His style was grand. Tyson would know that we would have a project and the allotment is, say, $500,000. So you must work within the ambit of $500,000. And Tyson would submit a project for $5 million. And he would explain to you why the people of Southborough needs to get this $5 million project. While we're silent as councillors, knowing the ministry sent $500,000, he would say, "They must suffer from fear syndrome, man. They're not talking to nobody, they're only councillor on paper." That was his thing, as to, you know, I'm doing more than you. But to close off, I must say that Tyson lived the life of a true representative, a real warrior for the People's National Party, a warrior for the people that he represented in his division, and a true love for people where he has made his mark on everybody positively that he would have come across. But the sad thing is, I believe that the system has failed Ainsley Parkins. He has been crying for help for many years based on the nature of his job. Not him alone, but other councillors, including myself, at times were faced with serious security risks. I recall at one point, I was worried for Tyson. We were all concerned as his colleagues, and no one came to his help to assist him. And the system became tribal and political, where he was even disarmed and didn't have the ability to protect himself. And the police would call him to say, Tyson, your life is in danger. And they would do a security assessment. And it was left there, no one to his rescue but God. This is not a PNP or a JLP thing. This could have happened to a police officer, a judge, anybody else. But because councillors are viewed as almost nothing, we have not heard any hurrah. It's business as usual. And which artists performed best at Songfest?
I am not a colleague in terms of his work here, but I consider myself a friend of Tyson. And I call him Tyson because that was how he introduced himself to me several years ago when we first met. When we were in medical school, we had a little way of remembering phases of grief. After death results in denial at first. Then there is anger. When there is bargaining, you're trying to make some sense of what happened. Then there is the depression, and finally acceptance. But it does not happen in that straightforward pattern. You will have that denial, much as how many of us felt when we heard of Tyson's assassination. Who would want to hurt this man who did so much for his community? We have to do better. We cannot have, on one hand, the South Korean government offering us 400,000 CCTV cameras at a time when we're talking about using Jamaica Eye to fight crime, and we spurn that offer.
And that was Cover Story. Tune in again next time for another edition of Cover Story. In the meantime, like, subscribe, share, and comment.